Hello, everyone. It's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox, guys. I hope this is coming through okay. I'm taking a walk through the neighborhood and taking a walk with the dogs, actually. And I thought I wanted to do a video on the Russia stuff. I try to avoid. That's too strong. Every so often I hit the Russian stuff. I don't necessarily want to hit the Russian stuff, but I get sick of it. Come on. Oh God, these are the animals. That's one eating a stick. That's Bo. Pips. That's the birthday one. And they're gonna fight over the stick. Come on. Come on. I wanted to talk about the Russia stuff. There was a poll that came out in Gallup. And in the poll, no, Russia stuff. In the poll, Gallup found that it was like 1% of the public considered this to be an issue, like a real issue. 1% of the public. Think about that. So of all the issues that came up, you had to go all the way down, almost like page 2, in order to see what the public cared about Russia. I think it was like 1%. Look, the media has been making a big thing of this, and they've been screaming at the top of their lungs about this. And if you remember, the media establishment almost in total went for Donald Trump. Went for Hillary Clinton. Media, whether it was paper, paper and print are the same, whether it was video, all of them almost entirely went for Clinton. She still lost. With all of this hysteria that's been taking place over the last 2 years, all of the screaming at the top of the lungs, all of the people insisting that Trump has something to do with it, and even when you got to the point where Russia helped them. Despite all of this stuff, when you really get down to brass tacks and you ask the public what they think, this isn't anywhere near the top of their list. This is nowhere near the top of their list. This is all the way at the bottom of their list. This is decidedly at the bottom of their list of concerns. If you're a lefty or progressive, this is not an issue you should care about. I'm just saying, the thing that you really want to focus on are issues of policy. What are the things that affect real people? What are the things that real people care about? Those are the things. Come here, you two. Those are the things that, from the standpoint of the left, matter. The day that Sanders steps away from talking about policy is a day that Sanders essentially puts a knife into Bernie Sanders. Yes, I'm saying he puts a knife in himself the day that he's not talking about policy. The Russia stuff is purely a cover from the standpoint of Democrats. It is a strategy, decidedly a strategy of the Democratic Party. It is not something that if you're a progressive or if you're a lefty, you should jump on the bandwagon of. It's something that essentially attacks your own disposition. Part of the thing that allowed you to get the political space is Sanders, yes. But another part of that has to do with this idea that they failed, that they utterly failed. They put the status quo candidate, status quo herself, the epitome of everything that it means to be status quo in the form of a human being with a pantsuit. And they put it on the ballot. Despite what the public want, they said it was her turn and they put it on the ballot. And despite having the Pied Piper candidate of Donald Trump, who was just firing has-been celebrities a year prior and was the epitome that every annihilation itself. At least that's the way it was cast. And when the public got the opportunity to vote between status quo versus annihilation, they chose annihilation. That should give you an idea of what the public thinks of status quo. They want to change. They want something different. Russia is a way to obfuscate any real conversation about the problems and the failures of the Democratic Party and the things that they say they represent and the things they say they stand up for. If you look at the poll, it's a Gallup poll. It's an amazing thing to see that the public is essentially giving the media and mainstream media establishment a thumbs down. So I'm not going to keep this one long. I'm just saying, if you consider yourself a lefty and you consider yourself a progressive, getting pulled in on this conversation of Russia, especially if it's something that you are overly talking about, then you've already fucked yourself. You've lost. The public doesn't care. The public doesn't care. What the public does care about are things that affect the public. Huh, who knew? The public cares about things that affect the public. Who knew? So, the point of this video is just a warning to lefties. Don't get dragged down into this conversation. If the Democrats need to find a way to take down Trump, and I understand that people want to take the position of, oh my God, I want to protect Trump because of the Democrats. Or I want to protect Trump. Trump is a horrible human being, but it doesn't make the Democrats that much better. It just means that they're attacking a horrible human being. From the standpoint of the left, I gotta be honest, I don't care about either. I think both are problematic, and I think both need to fail. And if they want to have Godzilla to attack King Kong, I want to stand by afterwards and point at the wreckage and say, this is where you don't necessarily want to go. Attacking Donald Trump relentlessly from the standpoint of Russia is a loss. It's a loser. It's not going to get you where you need to be. And if you're progressive, this conversation about Russia, this neo-McCarthyism, is being done in order to stem the tide of you. It's being done to stem the tide of you. The day you're talking about Russia, you're talking about policy. And I guarantee you it's policy is what. Theater matters, don't get me wrong. But they don't have this full well belief that Russia is the source of their ills. The public at the very least acknowledges and understands not abroad. So I'm going to hear this here. The donors do love the narrative because they don't like to go with this idea of why they failed so miserably. Status quo didn't fail. It wasn't Clinton's fault. It was Russia. And the argument of the left has been, no, status quo did fail. Status quo failed miraculously and significantly and completely. And that's something that the public and that lefties need to stand by. This wasn't an issue of Trump and Russia. This was an issue of status quo not meeting the needs of the public itself. And the public reacting to that by telling them no and choosing abomination himself. So I'm going to end this here. All right, guys. If you enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe. You can always support the Patreon, and I'll be back this evening. I had a doctor's appointment today, so I wasn't able to do videos this morning, but I should see you guys this evening or tonight. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.